Today we'll be solving literal equations. To solve literal equations, we're given mainly variables in a problem and asked to solve for one specific variable. Let's take a look at an example. Example 1. Let's look at 4x plus b equals 12, and we are going to be asked to solve for x. That means we have to get x by itself, even though there's other letters in the problem. We solve it the exact same way we were solving other equations. We're isolating x. So I'm going to subtract b from both sides. That gives me 4x equals 12 minus b. Then to get x by itself, I'm going to divide everything through by 4. To do this, 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, so x equals. Now I can split this into two parts, or I can leave it like shown. So I can get this, or I can split it into two separate fractions, which would be x equals 12 over 4 minus b over 4. Again, they have the same denominator. It goes for each fraction. Now I could simplify. X equals 12 divided by 4 is 3, minus b over 4 does not simplify. So this could be an answer or this could be an answer. It just depends on how far you want to go or need to go to find the correct answer in a choice of answers. Let's take a look at another example. Example 2. Let's look at an equation from velocity. So v velocity equals v sub o, or v sub naught, which is initial velocity, plus at. A is acceleration, t is time. This is a physics equation that you'll use, so you will use these equations a lot as you get into upper level science classes. In this equation, we're going to solve for a. To do that, I'm going to try and isolate this guy. I solve it the exact same way I solve any other equation. So first, I'm going to get the addition away. So I'm going to minus v sub naught from both sides. V and v sub naught do not look exactly the same. This has a little o below it. So that's going to be v minus v sub naught equals at, because this becomes 0. In solving for a here, I'm going to get a by itself, this is multiplication. I will divide both sides by t. T divided by t is 1. So therefore, I have two answers. I can say a equals v minus v sub naught over t, or I can simplify it into two separate fractions. Remember that my denominator for both is t. So that would be a equals v over t minus v sub naught over t. Let's look at a third example. Example 3. Let's look at another equation, the equation being t equals 13p plus 108. So to solve this one, we would, if we're solving for the letter p, solve for p, we would first subtract 108 from both sides. That would give us t minus 108 equals 13p. Again, this is multiplication. So how do I undo multiplication? I divide. And again, I could be looking for two separate answers. I could be looking for p equals t minus 108 over 13. Or I could split it into two separate fractions, which would be t over 13 minus 108 over 13. And one final example, example 4. Let's take a look at another equation. It's called Boyle's Law. Again, it's used in science classes. So we have p sub 1, v sub 1 equals p sub 2, v sub 2. Again, those are not numbers, those are sub. So we're going to solve for v sub 2. So this is multiplication. To undo multiplication, I divide. So I'm going to divide everything by p sub 2. P sub 2 divided by p sub 2 is 1. So my final answer is going to be v sub 2 equals p1 v1 over p2. This one cannot be separated into two separate fractions unless it's side-by-side multiplication. The reason we separated the other ones is because the top of the fraction, the numerator, was separated by a minus or a plus.